where we are on a mission to convince you to step out of your gaming comfort zone and try something new. With that said, let's get to convincing. Last episode, Darren and I, man, it's been so long since we are technically a week behind, so it's longer in
Mm-hmm.
between last episode and this one.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the last episode we did
Borderlands.
was
It was
Borderlands 4.
Borderlands. It was
Um,
indeed.
and we have since beaten it.
Yes.
As far as Borderlands can necessarily be beaten, we have completed the story. I think that's the main story. Saw
Mm-hmm.
credits roll. Um, and this week we're going to be doing a regular format where we convince each other to play different games. I will be convincing Darren to try Indika, and boy, do I have things to say. And Darren is
Mm-hmm.
going to be convincing me to try Sonic Frontiers.
Mm-hmm.
Another spoiler alert. He really isn't going to need to try very hard because Sonic Frontiers sounds awesome. Like, I've been interested in it since it was announced, and then like
Mm-hmm.
people started talking about it, and I stayed interested, and then um, uh, the Game Grumps did a playthrough. I didn't watch it because I wanted to go in blind, but
Mm-hmm.
with that said, before we get to the convincing segment, I want to do a quick gaming update for the two of us. So for the past couple months, we've been talking nonstop about like what's on the horizon, what's on the way, and
Mm-hmm.
we've started making progress on that front. We've made it through. I've made it through Metal Gear Solid. I've made it through Borderlands. I've made it through. Was border was there nothing in between Metal Gear and Borderlands? Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on? I actually don't think there was,
I
but
don't think so.
we've made some progress
Oh,
and
Mafia?
oh yeah, Mafia Old Country, yes. So made some progress and I have officially decided what my lineup is going to be going for the foreseeable future. No idea how long it's going to take because we are
Mm-hmm.
both currently playing Pokemon Legends Zeta A. Darren, just in a sentence, how are you feeling about what you are currently playing Pokemon Legends?
I understand people's frustrations with it, but I think there is still a good game to be played despite people's sensible gripes.
I think that's fair. I would agree with that sentiment. I think there is a lot of fun to be had with.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest, and we might do a whole episode where we talk in detail about it. Probably after we've both like finished the main part of it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a company that is as lucrative as the Pokemon company, Game Freak, whatever. Um, there are definitely some
Mm-hmm.
areas where you'd really like to see polish, but like the core of the game, it's a fun time. I mean,
Yes.
Darren and I have talked ad nauseum about how into the fashion we both are. So
Oh yeah.
it's a thing. But yeah, I also had a funny story that happened last weekend that I was gonna tell because we were supposed to record last weekend, but anybody who
Mm-hmm.
tuned in or watches the stream archives will see that I just read the opening chapter of a book because Darren got caught up with something. But
I mean,
um,
that's not what happened, but I get caught up with nothing.
we
I
didn't
didn't
get
have a
caught up.
voice.
Well, no, but our initial like Saturday 8 o'clock recording, I totally forgot that you had a
Oh,
thing to
that's
be at,
true. I did
and
do a
then
thing. You're
I
right.
just hopped on and totally blanked that you had a thing. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, last weekend I'm in the car with wife and son, and I totally realized I forgot to do my lighting setup. We're professionals here.
Yeah.
We we're consummate professionals.
Consummate.
And but last week we're in the car, wife and son, and we're driving, and my wife is just telling me a story about something I think work related or whatever. and
Mm,
she's just mid story, and my son just out of nowhere. You have to understand.
mm,
He's got the raspy toddler voice. Um,
mm-hmm.
and just out of nowhere, he just goes, "Mom, I want you to stop talking." Just in the backseat, just mid story, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Dude, you can't say that." And we were both trying so hard to keep our composure because we're like, "That's rude. You can't say that." But at the same time, it was so funny because he was so matter of fact with just being like, "Hey, mom, can you stop talking?"
Golly. Um, man.
Yeah, that's life with a toddler,
Um,
baby.
um, well, did she stop talking? I mean, I guess that's the next question, right?
I forget exactly what she did, but she did, but also didn't, because
Uh,
you know. Um,
uh-huh.
but no, it was. I was floored by the audace of this kid to just, yeah, mom, stop talking.
Bro, I like I shudder to think of what would have happened to me as a child if I had possessed the gall.
It's one of those things, right? Like, as a toddler, you're not doing it to be mean. You have no idea. I'm not gonna get mad at somebody for not knowing, right? Like,
Sure.
what are you gonna do? But we did have a talk of like, hey, dude, you can't say that to somebody unless they're being rude to you. In which case, every right.
Or they're your friend.
Or they're your friend. I'd never say that to you, Darren. But
Yeah. It's also because you know it wouldn't work, which.
you talk more.
Oh,
So
so much more.
okay, the speaking of not knowing any better, the game that I'm talking about this week
Mm,
is bizarre,
okay.
very bizarre.
Okay. Go
So
on.
so Indika is it's a I guess you could loosely describe it as an adventure game. Because you're a nun who's living in a nunnery named Indika, and I'm not the dude who watches movies and is like, oh, this cinematography is so avant-garde. I can tell that the director and actor were trying to portray this with their camera angles in the like. I'm not that guy. I watch movies and I go, oh snap, cool fight scene, I'm in. That's how I watch movies, right? I don't dissect deeper meanings. Like if I watch a pretentious movie, my first thought is that's pretentious. I don't care what it's trying to say because I shut my brains off to watch movies.
Sure.
So I am sure that there is playing this game. I could tell that there was some commentary on like faith, temptation, and
Mm,
something that is too big for my brain.
mm-hmm.
So you start off as a nun named Indika in a nunnery, and the beginning of the game, it starts off as like 8-bit graphic nun falling from the sky on a 2D screen, and she's just falling. And as you're falling, I'm thinking, oh, okay, cutscene. I saw like a screenshot, and I was like, the screenshot I saw was not 8-bit. What is happening? So
Mm-hmm.
as the nun is falling, she is able to pick up like hexagonal collectibles. And as you pick them up, you see like a little score going up on like the top left or right side of the screen, just increasing as you collect more collectibles. And as you're falling, as you collect them, they start getting bigger and bigger until you collect a gigantic one. And as you collect the gigantic one, the camera like zooms out and you see that the Indika, the nun that you're playing as, was like daydreaming during um, some service of some sort.
Mm.
And so everybody, when it happens, everybody's looking at her like, the heck is wrong with her? Clearly, I am smart enough to know that this is an allegory for like for some spiritual allegory, right? Like I can
Mm.
make the connection. She's in a service where she's supposed to be paying attention, and they're doing Hail Marys and all those things, and then she's
Mm-hmm.
just like she's zoned out, right? I get that. So that happens, and everybody's looking at her with judgmental faces,
Mm-hmm.
and so you you move on, you go about your day, and then she's told by another nun like, hey, can you deliver this food to this other nun? So you go do that,
Mm-hmm.
and on your way there's this like narrator voice just talking about her and talking about like whispering things to her,
Mm-hmm.
like the devil on her shoulder kind of deal, like, oh, they don't love you, they don't like you, something's wrong with you, like all that. Again, I get the connection, I get the allegory. So she's going and delivering the food to this woman, and the woman basically is thankless, just takes it and just like shuts the door in the face, and you get the
Mm-hmm.
feeling that these nuns do not like Indika at all. You have no idea why, because as far as you know, all she did was daydream during a service, and
Mm-hmm.
like everybody just like hates her. So you kind of get the feeling, or you might make a connection of like, is this normal? Do they think that she's like not living up to expectations? I don't know. You don't know. So after you drop off the food, this other nun is like, hey, go fill up this bucket of water. And what you have to do is you have to she's not a superhero. She's not Kratos, right? She grabs a big bucket and she has to walk to a well. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, this is like tedium. So she goes up to the well. You have to press a button for her to crank. It's either, I think you spun the control stick to raise the well water up in a bucket, pour the bucket of well water into the bucket you brought over, carry the bucket back and pour it in a barrel, and then you have to go and do it again. And all
Okay.
you're doing is just filling up a bucket from the well, walking it over to a barrel, pouring it in. That's all you're doing.
Okay.
And then the narrator voice just starts talking about like the tedium of this and what it's trying to teach you and all of those things. So you do that like 5 times to the same bucket. And then you go over there and, oh, I forgot to say that when you drop the food off, you got points. And I'm like, oh, okay. So you fill up the bucket, and then the nun comes out, sees you filled up the bucket, and then like says you did something wrong. I can't remember what it was. Kicks the bucket over and all the water spills out. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? And so she just gets berate. Like this, the nuns, they just don't like her. And so, um, eventually you've told that you've been called by somebody, so you go see them. And I was exploring the world, and as I was exploring, I found a room where you could light an altar, and then after you light the altar, she does the sign of the cross. And when you do that, one of the little yellow hexagons from the beginning where you the 8-bit nun falling just appears over your head, and it does like a very gamified like gaming sound. Like, you know, the
Mm-hmm.
ones when you're watching a movie where the kid doesn't know how controllers work and they have like
Mm-hmm.
super dumb exaggerated game sounds on a screen. So
Mm-hmm.
it made one of those sounds. And then I leveled up. I'm like, what? So there's something deliberate here, and again, my brain has no idea what it's trying to say. I just know that I'm a nun who's getting gamified notifications for doing basic everyday chores.
Okay.
And so when you level up, there's a skill tree, Darren, in my nun game. And so when you open up the skill tree, it's like branching paths, and my options were humility or grief as my level up options. One increased my score by a set of like it like multiplies your score by this amount, or like increases the amount of points that you earn when you earn points. And then the other one was like get this many points. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, what is this for? What is happening? What is a skill tree and leveling up doing in this game about a nun being tempted by something? So
Hmm.
after that, you go to another communion scene. And while she's waiting for the blessing, the priest, I think it was a priest. I, 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 I didn't stroke out. Okay, when I was playing, I had my faculties. I need you to understand that before I
Okay.
say what I'm about to say, because what I'm about to
Uh-huh.
say actually happened. So during the service, the scene, you look over at one of the pastors or the parishioner guy. I don't know exactly what his title would be. Um, he looks at you, opens his mouth, and a man baby just starts dancing out of his mouth while drum and bass starts playing. And it's what I'm telling you. I'm not like it's not symbolism. What I just told you is exactly what happened. And then it just goes away. She like snaps back to reality, and they finish the scene. And I'm like, what are you trying to say here? And then you are told eventually the game continues, and you're told by one of the people who live at the it's called a nunnery, right? I'm not crazy. So one of the guys at the nunnery is like, "Hey, I need you to deliver this letter to somebody else." And then the game becomes what the game is. Your job is to deliver this letter to somebody else. I didn't finish the game, but the game is only like 4 hours.
Okay.
It's not a super long game. So you just start making your way out. You leave the nunnery. The way out of the nunnery is one of the nuns escorts you, and then you walk towards the door, and then the scene switches to an all black screen. And then in the bottom right corner of the screen, you see it has become 2D, like a not gameplay wise, but like visually, it has become a 2D platformer. Like you see the two nuns become small on the screen, like it's a 2D platformer. Open a door, a thin hallway lights up, and then they walk across, open a door, and then a little bit above that, another door opens 2D, so that it's symbolic. Perspective switches, man. I don't know. So eventually, she walks you out of the door, and then you're just like you're in the world. They almost seem glad to be rid of you. So you make your way through, and you. I could have gone right. The world seemed big. I get the feeling that it doesn't have a ton to do in it because it's almost a walking simulator, but there's points and level ups. So you start walking, and I chose this path down to this river. You see that it's graphically, for it being an indie game, like it looks pretty good. It's not gonna like it. It's been out for a while, but it wouldn't win like may not win art direction per se, but like it looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So I make my way down to this river, and you see that it's a like a very old school style like rope pulley ferry, like and the ferry is just a platform that
Mm-hmm.
goes from one side to the other. So you go to this house because you realize the raft it's you need somebody to pull it because if you pull the lever, by the time you get down to where the raft is, it's out of your reach. You can't get to it, so somebody has to pull it while you're on it. So you go
Mm-hmm.
knock on the door, and this dude just like is very unhappy that you're knocking on his door. You get the feeling that this guy also doesn't like Indika. You still don't know why. So this is where your first puzzle comes in, and you have to figure out how to like creatively use the raft across the river. I did, and then eventually, you get to your first. I don't know what to call it. I guess you could call it like a prayer puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is you enter this mine shaft, and you have to basically like use a series of like elevators and ladders and climbing and things to get out of this cave. But what happens when you get on one of the elevators? You start hearing a button prompt comes up, and it says hold L2 to pray. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't, because I was like, what's going to happen? So the world turns red. You hear whispering voices, and then the world like cracks in half, and it alters the layout of the level of the mine that you're in. So like it cracks the world in half, and then different platforms like become available. And when you hold L2 to pray, it fixes itself. So the puzzle is you have to relearn when do I pray to make it whole, and when do I just leave it be, so that way I can get to the platforms I need to get out of here. Honestly, I thought it was perfectly creative. I was like, that's pretty good. And then you eventually solve that puzzle, and then you make your way out of there, and like it just keeps going. It like I don't want to say everything that I played, but that's the gist of what you can look forward to in this game. Darren, I wasn't sure what happened when I was playing. I was like, is this because the cover of this game wouldn't be out of place on a horror game. It wouldn't. The cover is like very odd, but it's expressly not a horror game. It's just weird, and weird is okay. But I had no idea what I was getting into when I picked this game. So that's my pitch for Indika.
Okay. Um. Um. Okay. So, bro, what in the name of Senua did you just play?
I don't know. It was very like art school project, avant-garde, like let me be as weird as possible to portray the message I want to portray.
Okay. Um. All right. So, I don't know what to say.
Whatever you like.
You know, initially I wanted to make a lot of very specific references, like, well, did she have a sidekick named Sativa, which there's a certain group of people who would have understood that joke and probably found it reasonably funny.
I am
But
not one of
like,
them.
no, that's okay. Um,
Oh, there was a
but
notification that did pop up that I was like, "Oh boy."
uh huh,
In between in between certain seeds, like you can reload checkpoints and things, and like tooltips pop up.
uh
One of the
huh.
tooltips was saying, "Don't waste time collecting points. They're pointless." And the points were what I was getting to level up grief and humility and all that. I was like, so
Did
you're
you
telling not to explore?
did did you find a reason to use those
You don't use
levels?
I got to level up my humility,
Okay. What did that do for you?
increase the amount of points I got.
Okay. Um um
I
I'm gonna be honest with you here. I really don't know what to say. This sounds just terrible to me.
I'm telling you, I'm sure there was something that they were saying. There was something there. I get it.
Sure.
I get like the temptation, the devil on your shoulder, and I that I made the connection with. But as far as like the dubstep or drum and bass baby like
Drum
coming
and
like
bass baby is
drum and bass man baby
crazy.
specifically, like I'm talking, I think he had like the little baby hat nappy hat joint, and I think he might have had a passy dog. I'm like in a diaper, dude.
Yeah, no.
At
I
at some point off stream, we're gonna watch that section together.
I don't think I wanna.
You do.
Um yeah, I think I think this is a no for me.
No.
I just, I went and looked at the cover
You see what I
and like
mean?
I'm immediately put off.
You see what I mean by like that would
Yeah,
not
I
be out
do.
of place on a horror game.
No, that's very like exorcism-y.
Part of me thought it was a horror game, but from what I played, no.
I mean, from what you just described, it sounds like a descent into
Madness.
religious fervor madness. So I don't know. And
Like
if
part of me is like,
plausibly the devil is speaking to you on your shoulder, then like,
is it like an allegory for like religious trauma? Like I
I
could
mean,
see that.
maybe.
Like stuff like that. I'm like I can make a connection to, but as far as the other stuff, I don't
I
know.
mean, for it being 11-bit studios, that's not like other games that I have played of theirs.
But that's a good thing because it means they are
It's true.
able
It is a
to
good thing.
flex their creative juices.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this creative juice will be unsampled by me.
Oh, what a shame. Dang it.
Yeah. That's something tells me you knew that was coming. Um on the other side of the coin then, um Ryan, have you played the other 3D Sonic games?
Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic Colors, Sonic Battle Net, Sonic. I've played a
No,
decent
that would
amount.
be Mega Man Battle Network, but
No, I know that there was something Sonic that's was similar, but I'm totally blanking on what it was. But yes,
did you
I've
play Sonic Heroes, Unleashed, all of those?
Sonic Unleashed. No, I've watched the Game Grumps playthrough, and that was enough. Never played Sonic
Yeah.
06. I watched that playthrough. That was enough. Um, I've played a very decent amount of 3D Sonic games. Sonic
Hmm.
Adventure 2 is still one of the honestly at this point I'd call Sonic Adventure 2 underrated because people just do not talk about it anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of a relic, I suppose, at this point. Okay. Well, given that you've played as many of those as you have, we'll start off with a nice, simple little trivia question, which is not really trivia. It's more of like a word association drill. When we're talking about music and Sonic games, what first pops into your mind?
The issue is that there's too much. My brother lied to me about Sonic Adventure 1, by the way. But he told me that when we first got it on Dreamcast, he was like,
Uh huh.
"Hey Ryan, like we want to get Supersonic, like we really want to get him." And he was like, "You have to beat all of the stories in order, and you can't start another story until one you finished somebody else's story." And I was like, "Okay." And then for those who don't know, Knuckles is my favorite Sonic character, and we unlocked Knuckles but hadn't finished Sonic yet. And so I'm like, hey, Julian, keep in mind, this was probably like 11, 12 o'clock at night, and Julian was probably asleep. And so I go, hey, Julian, hey, bro, I know we want Supersonic, but can I please play Knuckles? And he was so exhausted, he was like, yeah, whatever. And then I'm sitting there, I'm having a great time playing Knuckles. And then the next morning, I'm like, Julian, I'm sorry. I know we want Supersonic, but I played Knuckles and you gave me permission. He was like, dude, I lied to you. Super on
All
brand.
right.
But as far as
So
music goes,
yeah, music.
Sonic. We talked about the Mount Rushmore of video game music, and it is a shame that we couldn't find place for any Sonic, because when I think of Sonic, I think of Mystic Cave Zone. I think of the
Like
freaking
Green
like
Hill Zone.
Greek aquatic
Sure.
aquatic something. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I think of the chemistry or chemical plant. Like
Yeah.
I Sonic 2 and 3 it, all dude, Sonic's music, man, is goated for sure. I think Michael Jackson, because for those who don't know, Michael Jackson did help with the music from Sonic 3. That was a rumor for a very long time. It has been proven that he did lend some help with Sonic 3 soundtrack.
And then of course Sonic's foray into butt rock.
All the butt rock. The butt rockinest butt
Um
rock. Why do you ask?
well, Frontier right off the bat just slaps you in the face with drum and bass. And it slaps you in the face with drum and bass so hard that like it almost doesn't feel like a Sonic game. But so you start off with your typical Sonic cutscene. Um, Eggman doing something nefarious,
Of course,
summons weird cybernetic bots.
as he does.
Flash cut to um, Tails and Amy in the. I imagine it's probably one of the tornado planes. Sonic, of course, in his perfect, safe passenger seat of standing on the hood of the plane while it's flying. Um, and like this crack in the world opens up and they get pulled into this weird rift wormhole type thing. And Sonic wakes up by himself in this foresty area with a cybernetic sky. So naturally, he just assumes, oh hey, I must be in another world, chili dogs or whatever. Um,
Yep, that's Sonic.
and you're dropped into this gigantic open world with like Sonic just running around. There's rings in places. There's the little speed up tiles. There's the
Mm-hmm.
normal springs. There's everything, everything you're used to.
I
You're
feel
just
like the
in the open world.
I feel like the nature of Sonic is so it lends itself so incredibly well to an open world setting because it's all about speed and open worlds. The biggest gripe I have with a lot of open worlds is one, they're empty, but two, traversal, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that was a thing, but you could definitely get around. But then you end up at this altar, and this weird voice speaks to you and tells you, "Hey, go find things. You need to unlock this. Get a key. Defeat
MacGuffins.
enemies. Blah blah blah." And so, okay, the stage opens, and then you end up in a pretty classic, like 3D Sonic stage. Now, what I will say about the majority of the stages that I played could typically be beat in sub a minute.
So
And
is it sections of the open world that you play, or do you go to different
no,
areas on the map and it takes you to
different.
another, like a la Mario 64? You go to the castle and then the castle
Yes.
takes you. Okay.
Yes. Different stage entirely. A lot of them are likened to past Sonic stages. So you run through one that is very reminiscent of Green Hill Zone,
Ooh.
and you go through another one that is very reminiscent of that like chemical laboratory type deal. Just different. And but all pretty similar, all pretty simple. Normal 3D Sonic mechanics, run in a straight line as fast as you can. There's these red stars surrounded by a ring that you pick up, and if you pick up a certain number of them, you get a key. And if you finish it in a certain amount of time, you get a key. And you get all these keys that eventually let you do other stages that you need to do in
Banjo.
order to get these gears that you need to do other things in order to get these other things in order to get other things. And you kind of see the loop that happens here, right?
Is it
This game is one of the most collectible heavy things, but everything that you collect in this game is a currency of some type.
sure? Like
And
it's
there are
like
so
collected.
many different currencies.
It's like rare because a lot of rare games like Banjo Kazooie, Donkey Kong 64, like all those like platformer were of the
Yeah,
same vein.
yeah. Which
How's
which brings me
oh okay
to these. Ryan, if I told you that there were boss fights in this Sonic game
yeah yeah
of various scales,
yeah
you probably the things that come to mind are I am Sonic, I'm going to jump, I'm going to hit him with a homing attack. Yeah, that's not absurd to say.
no not at
Is
all.
it is something that you've always thought was missing in Sonic games? Sonic swinging hands and beating the absolute piss out of things?
That sounds
Because you
fantastic.
get that here. Sonic is just throwing hands with some of these things that you fight in the open world. So like you have your homing attack or whatever, but you unlock these other powers that just let you do stuff, and some of them are like straight up anime. I'm gonna punch over and over and over. You expect him to start saying "ora ora ora," but he doesn't. But like it's that, or like he sends out these shock waves while he's in the air, and God knows how he's doing it, and just uh, the battle mechanics, like the combat of this game, because there's like actual legitimate combat to this game, was so odd that it's like, hey, is this Sonic or is this Near Automata? Because it does feel sort of similar in a lot of ways. Um, I and then you get the skill tree to get more abilities because of course the thing Sonic needed was a skill tree.
Yeah,
Uh huh.
what did the
Uh
skill
huh.
tree? What does it give you?
More active abilities to use while you're fighting things. You could then there's another set of experience that you get that you can either run faster or increase your maximum ring count, and that actually ends up being a very important thing. So rings, you get this ability. I forget what it's called, but you can basically draw a trail in the ground. You usually use it to like circle an enemy, and if you make the tips of the circle touch itself, then the enemy will be like launched in the air, and you can do air combos, right? But if you just do it out in the field, in the middle of nothing, you can make rings pop up from the ground. Now, classic Sonic games, you could basically always take two hits, but that number could keep increasing as long as you had at least one ring,
Correct.
right? In this game, and I think for the first time in any Sonic game, you had a maximum number of rings you could hold.
Uh huh.
Once you hit that maximum number of rings, you basically entered this fury state where everything you did combat wise was just faster and stronger until you got hit and lost your rings.
Yeah.
Um, so typically, I mean, I was it's like, okay, well, max rings is cool, but I barely ever have max rings, so why do I want to increase my maximum rings? And also, I'd just like to be able to run faster, so I always picked movement speed
Oh
because
yeah.
I didn't know any better. And that runs into the problem. When you fight your first actual boss, right, you kind of get teased with it pretty early on, and this like gigantic cyber world machine titan just absolutely throws a fist into you and like knocks you through a mountain. Like Hedgehog would be dead, but Hedgehog's not dead because plot armor. Um, you go back and you get a chance to fight him after you have collected all of the Chaos Emeralds in just the first area. Mind you, this is the first boss. This giant island you're on, I believe there's four of them in total. So four separate, fully open maps to this game that are not small. This first boss, you eventually get a chance to fight as Supersonic.
Okay.
Now your max ring total matters because you
Oh,
can't be
does it?
Supersonic if you run out of rings.
So
And oh,
that's
did
every
I make
Sonic.
that more complicated for myself than it needed to be?
Yeah, that's every Sonic.
Yeah, it is. And I don't know
Yes.
why I didn't. I mean, I because
You didn't make
normally,
that
right, and
connection.
every other Sonic, you are Supersonic at the end of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Yeah.
not for the first boss, but yes, for the first boss. But it made it all worthwhile. Do you know why?
I don't. Tell me.
You don't, but I'm going to tell you. The music that played during the first boss might, oh God, might be one of my favorite boss tracks in video games ever.
So that puts that above the original Doctor Robotnik theme from Sonic 2. That puts it above.
It's the best. It is the best Sonic boss song ever. No questions asked.
That is
Like
such a
better than
high
Open Your
bar.
Heart, better than Open Your Heart, better than
Sonic 3 and two's boss themes?
uh-huh, all of them. All of them. And do you know why? Because it is a metalcore song as sung by Kellen Quinn of Sleeping with Sirens.
Oh. Okay, guys. I see your game
Let
now.
me tell you, if you've ever wanted a song that makes you want to run through a wall while simultaneously trying to accomplish the boss fight, this is it.
Hmm.
Like I I cannot stress enough. Like you remember just the overall feeling that you got playing Claire Obscure, how the music would just come and you have to put the controller down and you're just like, wow,
Many times.
many times. With this one, now the drum and bass tracks on the actual levels were all good, right? I thought they were. I mean, it's drum and bass, right? You kind of know exactly what you're getting into. Um, this boss theme, man, I had to look it up. Every single boss theme has Kellen Quinn singing something, but all the boss songs are different, which was it's so good, so good. Kellen Quinn's voice lends itself so well to a Sonic boss theme. I doubt he'll ever hear this, but my God, bravo. Um, and so this game kind of has a bit of everything, right? Your classic Sonic stages, gigantic, like how is a tiny hedgehog defeating things this large scale boss fights. It's got a parry mechanic in the actual active combat. It's got Sonic throwing
Did you just
hands.
say
Um,
parrying?
you heard me. A parry mechanic in active action RPG combat. Um, which you have to use in the boss fight or you're going to get glassed. So you can parry it as Supersonic against this giant boss. Wild. Um, and a skill tree. And of course, the one thing that you would be missing without it being in a Sonic game, of course, a fishing minigame. So really, this game kind of has a little bit of everything. Um,
Okay.
to the point where it almost doesn't feel like a Sonic game, if not for the fact that it's Sonic. And to be fair, it does have the one thing that every other 3D Sonic game has:
Glitches.
the
Bugs.
worst camera mechanics ever.
I see.
And so there's these in this open world, you have the ability to like run up vertical surfaces as Sonic in these very specific types of vertical surfaces. And they give you agency to pretty much do that to anything that has that surface slash material on it. Um, but
Huh.
the camera doesn't necessarily want you to do that. And so because Sonic moves so fast and the camera can't quite keep up, the number of like frustrating falls off of climbing structures that I had, especially in some of these like little mini game challenges that are all over the world that basically, either give you some of the currencies that let you do various other things or that unlock a portion of the map or like things like that. But the number of them that I failed and had to redo multiple times because I just fell was so irritating. And so, really, the only knock I have on this game is that they've still not figured out how to make the camera in a 3D Sonic game not be the worst thing that's ever happened to a video game.
Have you thought about doing better?
Well, see, I tried, and
Just checking.
I guess it didn't work.
Mm.
But what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna
But
do?
no, man. As honestly, like all jokes aside, as a whole, this game is a far departure of any other 3D Sonic game has ever been. But the control is better. Everything feels better. The music is fantastic.
Sure.
The open world is actually very pretty, which, again, we could come back to Pokemon. Like, Sonic can do it. Why can't Pokemon do
I
it, you
mean,
know?
and Sonic World is bigger.
And fully open and massive, and you move fast, and, but
So fast.
whatever. Pokemon is cool. Um, but no, it's a good time. It is a good time, and the scale of those boss fights feels like you're really trying to accomplish something.
Sweet. No, I'm fully convinced because I've wanted to play Sonic Frontiers since I saw people starting to talk about it. I'd heard stuff about the music. I think I've listened to one track. I can't remember which one it was. It might have been the first boss theme, but it's been forever. Um, I will check it out when I squeeze it into the plethora of things on the horizon because I I,
Yeah, good
I,
luck.
I actually wanted to do that as an update because I talked earlier in the episode about
Hmm.
how my foreseeable future is spoken for, and I wanted to just kind of talk about where we are because I think since we've talked about it, I've changed it a little bit more.
Oh.
Um, there's one game that I don't know where to squeeze in.
Hmm.
So, hello,
Donkey Kong
Trashy.
Bonanza.
That's a second one I don't know where to squeeze in. So the boy, the current update on games I want to or games I'm going to be playing my lineup, if you will, my fantasy lineup is hello kitty.
I've
I'm
been
currently
joined.
playing Legends ZA.
Uh
That'll be
huh.
finished whenever it's finished.
Right.
Um, whoa, let's get that handled. Pinch the bridge. Look up. Um, and after Legends ZA, it'll be Final Fantasy Tactics. The remaster. It's a remaster. I don't think it's a remake. Um, after that, it'll move on to Trails in the Sky. Legend of Heroes: Trails in the Sky, first chapter.
Hmm.
Then, after that, it was going to be Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Yotei is being moved back just a hair, one game,
Oh.
because I don't know when else I'm going to play this other one. Uh,
Silent Hill.
that's a third one that I don't even know where the heck I'm going to squeeze it in.
Okay.
No, oh my gosh. Um, Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma.
Ah.
Then Ghost of Yotei. And then after that, it'll probably be like the Silent Hill, Donkey Kong, like Silent Hill, Donkey Kong, uh, and Digimon are all like
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
a trio that will be after Ghost of Yotei at some point.
Sure.
No idea when. So that is like my lineup. Darren, what's your plan going forward after Pokemon Legends? Because you currently have two games that you could pretty much play forever.
Yeah, I do.
Being
And especially because that giant patch just came out for Borderlands, so I need to get that figured out. Um, and not too long from now, the first piece of paid DLC comes out. So
that'll be
that's
the beginning of next year, but
that's another problem. No, because there's the one that comes out in November.
the but that's a free
Yeah,
like
Rush Saves Mercenary. It's not free. It's not free.
I thought that was
Rush
like
Saves Mercenary Day is not free. There's one on right now,
I see.
and it's not very good. Like I could talk about that quite a bit. The free Halloween event that is going on right now sucks. That's not really worth doing. The two legendaries that came out are terrible. Um, it's not fun. It's not well done. Um, whatever. It's not important. It's not worth talking about. Um, but so there's that. So I have that, and of course, Pokemon. I will probably try to complete um, the challenges so that I can get the shiny charm to start shiny hunting things obsessively. But I will probably move from Legends ZA to Final Fantasy Tactics. Um, from Tactics, I will probably go to Trails in the Sky. Maybe. Because then there is that game that we saw, the new Metroidvania
Yeah,
Hollow Knight esque game,
Century,
Constance.
Constance. That's it.
Constance, yeah, coming out for Xbox soonish. It's like mid-November, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Um, so that's obviously something I really want to play. Hades 2 at some point,
Yeah,
but that's
that's fair.
another one. Like, what do you do? I really want to play Silk Song at some point, but again, what do you do? Ghosts of Yote, I plan to play, but to sit down with that type of undertaking, knowing that I already have two games that I will play back and forth for the next probably 6 months is complicated.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I really don't know. I think once Constance comes out, I'm pretty sure everything I care about for the rest of the year is out. I think.
Yeah. I mean, my list going forward is all released. There's nothing between now and the end of the year that is releasing that it would replace anything that I'd be getting.
Sure. Yeah, I
The
mean
people the
it's.
people want to see the kitty, by the way.
I know. I will. We will show the kitty. Um.
Whoa, people got to pay for that. Um,
Yeah. Um. But I'm actually kind of glad we brought this up because
okay,
speaking of the future, I got a notification on my phone today of an IGN article
okay.
that came out a couple days ago. After releasing a $1,000 handheld, Microsoft has said its next gen Xbox console is going to be a very premium, very high end curated experience. End quote.
If I were to roll my eyes harder, they might actually fall out of my head.
Yeah, so the article goes on to talk about that because the Rogue Xbox Ally X is an Asus product, Asus set the price. So they're basically blaming Asus on the price of the Rogue Ally.
That's that's
Um,
that's how you have good business partnerships.
yeah, right. That's just like Xbox magically disappearing from all the stores. Um,
Which might be untrue. I don't know. I saw that was all like a farce. I don't actually know what's happening, to be honest.
I don't I don't either. I do know that I didn't realize that the price had gone up $50 on every Xbox right now as well.
Sure
Had you
did.
seen that?
Sure did. And
Like
it's not
the
even a
two
temporary
terabyte.
increase.
Nope, it's permanent. Like the 2 terabyte Xbox Series X Galaxy version that I have right now is $800 almost,
Huh?
which is not what I paid for it. Yeah, the so hold on, let me.
You got a special Xbox?
When so story time for the people who are not in my life.
Oh.
About a year and a half ago, the apartment that my fiance and I live in got struck by lightning, and it blew out every electronic that I had in my living room. It fried the hard drive of my PlayStation 5, actually set it on fire because it melted all the soldering. Blew out the TV, destroyed my Xbox Series X. So I had nothing except my Switch and a Dream. And so when I replaced it, once we finally got the insurance money so that I could replace it, I was initially just going to get another Xbox Series X with an expanded, like, external hard drive. But I decided, which would have cost another $200 on top of it. At the time, for the console and that 2 terabyte hard drive, it would have been, I think, $800. What I decided to do instead was simply get expanded internal hard drive as the Xbox. So I'm basically a terabyte smaller than I would have been if I had gotten the external, but I saved $100.
Sure.
So I did that at the time.
I didn't know
Now
that.
that the price of the 2 terabyte Galaxy Special Edition is $800, a $70 price increase from when it was, or what it was when I bought it.
I don't know, man. I don't
And
know.
so now we're talking about, and the article says that we're starting to see some of their train of thought relative to this handheld, and they want to make it accessible to the Microsoft Store and Steam and GOG, and like, that's all well and fine, but man, I can't. I'm not going to spend $1,000 for a console that has a definitive set lifespan, because at that point I'll just get a PC.
Yeah,
Because then an Xbox isn't an Xbox at that point anymore. It's just a TV PC,
it's a
which is kind of
low
all
end.
PCs are anyway, with a smaller monitor,
It's a low end PC. Yeah.
basically, and low end at that. I mean, unless they're going to tell me that they're, ripping off the best graphics cards known to man with liquid cooling systems, and it just turns out that it is a PC for your TV. I don't know what to make of that article, but they're contemplating, what did I see the projected release was? Um,
Maybe 27, 28.
Hold on. They said
No, wait, it's
nothing
26.
definitive, of course. It says when they're shooting for in this article. Um,
Agree, Trashy. The consoles are weird now. They're trying to close the gap because for the longest time
mhm,
PCs were inherently stronger than any consoles could be. But the
mhm.
benefit of consoles was it was just plug and play. It was just you didn't have to worry about like files not working or incompatibility. You literally just put it in and you played. And
The-
obviously, started getting updates and whatnot, but like again, people I don't understand this. I was part of the generation that grew up where you plug in the game and played, and whatever the game was, if the game was
mhm,
broken, guess what? You bought a broken game,
mhm.
and like that was it. And people complain like, I have to put in my Xbox and I have to sit through this big update. Like, yeah, that sucks, but it's there to make the game work better. I don't know. I it gives me time to go
So
do something else. But go ahead, dude.
the article states that they're targeting 2027 for the next gen Xbox and an Xbox handheld.
Wait. So the Ally
Yep,
X is not the handheld.
it's not the Xbox handheld. It is
Okay.
a Rogue Ally with Xbox compatible shenaniganry.
Just give me the Vita 2.
And here we have Cat. Cat, say hello.
What's up, Moch?
You look disinterested.
Um,
You say hello.
I mean the
Yeah.
Wii and GameCube were definitely convenient. Any system where you don't have to worry about updates or any of those things, like yeah, it's nice. But the issue is that a lot of people, when reflecting on older console generations, only focus on their favorite games because your favorite game worked. And
Right.
it completely ignores all the other games that were terrible and didn't work. For
Yeah.
example, Quest 64, not a good game. Superman
Nope.
64, not a good game.
Terrible game. One of the worst games of all time.
You could go back and find games that just didn't work in those games because the game can't be updated. Like No Man's Sky, if it was just what it was on release,
Mm-hmm.
terrible, boring, awful. But because
Mm-hmm.
of the nature of nowadays generation of consoles, the game is completely different and good now
Mm-hmm.
and worth playing. And so like
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a worthwhile trade-off is if you have a developer who cares, they have the chance to put in the passion and effort to release to make a game be what they wanted it to be.
Right.
So I don't know. There's trade offs for sure. Convenience is semi gone, but I can't tell you the amount of times I go online and someone's like, dude, my this game won't start, and it's like I don't have to worry about that with the PlayStation or Xbox. All the games start. The games turn on. I can just play them. Yeah, exactly. You bought No Man's Sky, invested 100 hours in the first week. It's an incredible experience now. When it was released, no, Darren and I got it on release, and it was
Yep.
not what it is now.
Nope.
But it is what it is now because of our current gen. But we can talk about this back and forth forever. We are
So updated article from Gaming Bible that
okay.
came out yesterday
Okay.
supposedly says, and I think it's clickbaity, but Xbox next gen console price leaks. It's not a typo. Um,
Okay.
quote, however, with great power comes great costs, as if this report is true, the next Xbox console could cost anywhere between $800 to $1,200 due to its much larger processor.
You're buying a PC. Just get a PC.
Quote, games don't even fully utilize the functionality of the current gen, and we're already expected to update our consoles, asked a user. You're better off taking your $1,200 and building a PC instead. The
Yeah.
whole point of consoles is affordable gaming, but if money ain't an issue, you just get a PC.
So going to you, Trashy. I think yes, companies should release a game that is finished and work on upgrading it from a finished
Yes.
state to a more finished state. I think that is the dream. Um, and I think that unfortunately, a lot of people spend a lot of time supporting games that do release broken,
Yeah.
and that's encouraging, man. You got to vote with your wallet. If you don't want games to be released broken, then don't buy broken games on release. And
Hmm.
it took me a while to get a hold of that, which is why I wait for. I want to say reviews, but when I say reviews, I don't just mean like a number, right? I don't just go, "Oh, this
Right.
game got this score. All right, I'm buying it." Like I will look at the score, and then go through like what are they saying. If they are
Right.
saying this game is busted, I'm I wait a little bit.
Right.
Um,
And that's the whole thing, right? We've said it once, we've said it 1,000 times. Just don't pre-order games anymore. You end up getting yourself into a situation that you can't really overcome because you've already spent the money on it, and by the time you
I
receive the product, now you're getting all the news.
the only time I will ever pre-order a game, and I've done it recently. Actually, I don't even remember the last time I did. I was gonna say Claire Obscure, but that was Game Pass before it went nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't. I will only time I will pre-order a game is if the reviews drop early, and I like what the reviews say, and the game hasn't released. Because certain games will drop reviews like a week before release, which is a good
Yes.
sign that the company trusts the game they made. And
Yes.
so, like if reviews
Full
drop,
disclosure:
what
when Sandfall releases or announces the next Claire Obscure entry, I will pre-order that
I
because
will.
if they announce a collector's edition, I will need it.
I will not, only because I there was a company I had implicit trust in, and they lost it overnight. And I can't trust anybody anymore until I see what people say about it. You know what I'm talking about. CD Projekt Red had everybody's trust. And then Cyberpunk 2077 on release happened.
Yeah, but that still wasn't their fault.
Yes, it was. They didn't have to release when they did.
Ah,
They're in control,
oh,
man.
yeah, but when people are like doxing you and threatening to bomb your homes and places of work if you don't release the game, I don't know, man.
And then
I feel
they,
like that one's got a bit more nuance to it because at least they made it right and worked hard to make it right.
yeah, same thing for No Man's Sky. Like, yeah, I think there's definitely
Yeah,
aspects and there's
but they
definitely
didn't get
nuance. But
their livelihoods threatened. I don't know, man.
you think No Man's Sky didn't?
Not compared to
Well, no.
what the devs of Cyberpunk got.
Cyberpunk was much higher stakes than No Man's Sky was. Yes, but
Yeah, the degree of the threats every time they delayed it was ridiculous.
fair.
But
But
what are you gonna do? Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
we can talk about this for forever. We can actually continue talking about this during our gameplay because we're actually doing a doubleheader. We're gonna be stopping our podcast and moving on to our bi-weekly gameplay of Crypt
Mm-hmm.
Custodian. So
Woo!
look out for that. But next time, I will be continuing to convince Darren to try something that he would never otherwise try. I will be convincing him to play Gloomhaven. For those eagle-eared listeners that know Gloomhaven, Gloomhaven is actually a board game that is very
Yep.
heavily inspired by D&D, and a company by the name of Twin shoot, I just saw it. Why am I blanking? Twin Sales Interactive turned it into uh, a video game, and they are known for it looks like a lot of interesting games. They took the Game of Thrones board game and made it a digital edition. They made Carcassonne, which is a board game, a digital edition. Arkham Horror, which is I think a TTRPG. They made it a digital edition. They also made a game called Terraforming Mars, which I've seen all over. I'm trying to break out of this prison condo. Me too, man. But
Mm-hmm.
that is they have a couple interesting ones. They have one called Enchanted, spelled INN Chanted, and it's a 4-player co-op game where you run a magical inn with some friends. Kind of like, from what I see, like Played Up or Overcooked style, where you're running an inn. I'm not entirely sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then another game called Bloomtown, which is like a turn-based RPG mixed with like monster taming and like I don't know. Social RPG. So like Stardew Valley, but Pokemon. I don't know. It sounds interesting. They sound like they have really good ideas. So I'm curious to see what they did with Gloomhaven. Darren, you did tell me, but I forgot what you're doing. What are you going to be doing next time?
I am going to play SD Gundam Battle Alliance.
That's
I
right.
know
That's right.
nothing about it, but I do enjoy the Gundam anime franchise. And I mean, if it claims to be an action RPG and Bamco published it, so it's got to at least be playable.
Sure. But we will see you on the next episode. Until then.
Are you convinced yet?